New information shows Facebook gave its corporate partners extensive access to users' personal data for years and never told anyone. The report in the New York Times says that Facebook made data sharing deals with dozens of the world's other tech giants. Internal documents show Facebook allowed companies to access information like users' private messages and the names of virtually all of their Facebook friends. It is the latest privacy scandal to hit the social media platform. Spotify is the latest company to respond to the Times report. It pointed to a line from the article in which the authors note spokespeople for Spotify and Netflix said those companies were unaware of the broad powers Facebook had granted them. Tony Dokoupil has more.
At a congressional hearing in April, CEO Mark Zuckerberg insisted the data of Facebook's more than 2 billion users is safe.
Yes or no, is Facebook limiting the amount or type of data Facebook itself collects or uses?
Congressman, yes, we limit a lot of the data that we collect and use.
But according to a new report in the New York Times, for years, Facebook struck deals to share users' personal data with more than 150 companies, including Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon. Among the allegations in the report, Facebook allowed Spotify, Netflix, and the Royal Bank of Canada to read, write, and delete users' private messages. Amazon was able to obtain users' names and contact information through their friends. And Microsoft's Bing was able to see the names of virtually all Facebook users' friends without consent.
We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data. And if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people.
Privacy issues, security breaches, and the distribution of fake news has plagued Facebook for months. The scandals have forced Zuckerberg and Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg to publicly apologize.
We know that we did not do a good enough job protecting people's data. And I'm really sorry for that, and Mark's really sorry for that.
The Times reports Facebook's partners were able to seek the data of hundreds of millions of people a month. The Times says the deals were all active in 2017, and some were still in effect this year. In a statement to CBS News, Facebook said its partners don't get to ignore people's privacy settings, and it's wrong to suggest that they do, adding, "We know we've got work to do to regain people's trust, and that's where we've been focused for most of 2018.
CNET senior producer Dan Patterson is here with more. Dan, I'm noticing a pattern here, right? There's some sort of report that unveils, more of our information is out there. Facebook sort of begs for forgiveness, and we're working on it. And then it starts all over again. I was sort of exhausted when I read about this information now. So let's just talk about what the article says. What's the deal, and what sort of information was made available to these other corporations?
Well, we're learning more and more over time, but it appears as though the API, the Facebook kind of technology that allows other applications to interact with the Facebook platform, gave permission to access private messages, gave permission to access user details. Really, the sum of what Facebook has said, look, we don't allow anyone to ever access this type of information. Right.
So we've heard from some of these other corporations, companies. We've heard from Amazon and Netflix and Spotify, and they basically say, hey, if we had access to the information, we certainly didn't use it. Why would companies like this find that sort of information valuable? Why do they want to know who my friends are, or what's in my private messages?
Well, the easy and quick answer to this is marketing. It's just so much easier to target you with advertisements, which most people feel as though, look, if you're transparent about this, then I really don't have a problem with that. But I want to know what type of information you are using to target me with advertisements. I had a meeting with a source yesterday afternoon who said, look, on the open web, as you're browsing around the web, we have a pretty good idea of who you are, and then you hit this wall that's Facebook, and it kind of goes black. It's hard for us to understand what's happening inside there. So that kind of revealed some of the motivations behind why Facebook would allow different companies who have maybe priority access to see details of the Facebook platform.
That is fascinating. Now, I know, I've gotten on websites or wanted to use services, and when I'm signing up, they give you the option. Do you just want to sign up through Facebook? It's one click away instead of typing in all your information. So often I do sign up through Facebook. I've never really considered what that meant other than a very quick way to access a website. would I have the ability, do users have the ability to control what sort of information any of these other platforms have access to?
Yes and no.
Okay.
In the Facebook platform, yeah, it kind of looks like you do. I would encourage everyone watching this to go into your Facebook privacy settings, look for the applications that you've permitted access to, and remove everything that you don't want to access your Facebook account. However, what we are learning from not just this story, but the drip, drip, drip of bad news from Facebook is that what they tell us, and in fact, we had phone calls with Mark Zuckerberg maybe a month or so ago where he was very firm. We never, ever allow anyone to access your messages. So if we believe the company, then when you deactivate the access through other applications, you should be okay. But it turns out that we might not be able to believe the words that Mr. Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg say.
Maybe not Mr. Zuckerberg, but what about these other companies that say we were not aware that we had access to this information? If we became aware, we would have never used it anyway. Can we trust those other companies?
Probably. So we are reporting on this right now. We're kind of finding some things out. We have no reason to believe otherwise. And so when I see a release from Spotify or from Amazon, or at least their spokesperson issuing a statement, I have no reason to disbelieve them. It is kind of like not knowing that a front door is unlocked. And, I didn't know that that was unlocked. And I could have just walked in. There's no intent or need for these companies to really do anything too swarmy. But we're still learning more, and it's difficult to say that they didn't know without first reporting on this. So we will report back here when we know more.
Dan, it's so fascinating, but it's sort of so disappointing. It's exhausting. These sort of keep coming up. Dan Patterson, thank you.
Good.